Thank you for tuning in to Full Online Videos. Today we're going to replace the worn out intake kit in this 2007 Toyota 4Runner with our AFE Stage 2 PRO-5R intake system. Let's open up the box and see what we've got to install here. Alright, so when we open the box, make sure your factory seal is undamaged. That'll make sure that everything that's supposed to come from the factory is in that box. Let's go ahead and open it and see what we've got. Alright, so we've got everything laid out for our Stage 2 kit. You can see we've got the lid for our intake box, which is going to look really awesome underneath the truck. Goes on the intake box back here. Got our new intake tube and our huge filter that goes inside our box. We've got all of our band clamps, new replacement hose, our new MAF sensor gasket, new isolator, our hardware bag, components for the airbox to connect everything together, and our new seal. So let's go ahead and install everything and see what we get. Alright, so for the install, we only need a few tools. We've got our 5/32 Allen wrench, we've got our flathead screwdriver, we've got our 10, 12, and 13 millimeter sockets with the extension on the ratchet, and we've got our 5/16 wrench. That's all you'll need to install this kit. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is take off this engine cover to gain access to everything. These are two 10 millimeter nuts on top of the cover. We'll set those to the side because those will be reused. Disconnect the MAF sensor right here. Lift our cover off. Now save the cover for later. Now since it was a little hard to see the MAF sensor from underneath the cover, we went ahead and reconnected it, and just to show you where it is. It's located right here underneath the cover. You just push down, pull it out, and it's disconnected. And just pin the wire back out of the way. Moving on, we're going to go ahead and remove the two 12 millimeter bolts that hold on the OE intake snorkel. One here and one down there. Alright, so now we're going to remove the vacuum tubes from the intake. There's one back here, and one right up front here. And we're ready to remove the whole unit. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the stock intake. So now we need to install a rubber isolator into the factory pre-tapped hole right here in the fender. And now we have our new isolator for our new box in place. So now we've got to put our air filter adapter into our box, line up the holes. So now we've also sealed up the other end of the intake that butts up against the fender well, and we're ready to install the box in the vehicle. Alright, so we've remove the factory MAF sensor from the factory intake, and we're going to reinstall it in our new intake tube on our AFE kit. You're going to want to use your new felt gasket. Make sure it fits flush on the underside there. And they provide little nylon spacers. So new screw in, new nylon spacer, ready to drop the first one in, hand tighten, and tighten everything up. And we're ready to install our new AFE intake tube back onto the throttle body. So let's recap what we've done so far. We've unbolted the factory side of the intake from the fender well and the throttle body. We've removed some of the vacuum hoses that needed to be removed. We've unclipped the MAF sensor, and we've reinstalled that on our new intake. we've installed the new intake box, and we're getting ready to install the new intake tube that'll go from the box to the throttle body. So now we put our rubber hosing to the end of our intake tube we built before, put our band clamps on there pre-assembled so that we can slide everything in place and finish up the install. This side will go to our throttle body, this side's going to go to our intake box. So now let's go ahead and slide the intake tubing in. First to the throttle body, then to the filter, line it up where we want it, and now tighten down the band clamps into place. Nice and snug. All right, so now we've got to reinstall our MAF sensor, one of our vacuum lines, and clip it back in, factory clip, and our back vacuum line, and reinstall our longer back vacuum line. All right, so now we've got back in place our factory MAF sensor, our front vacuum tube. We've reinstalled our back vacuum line. This is a longer unit that came in the kit. And now we'll move on to installing our air filter and our lid for our air filter box. All right, now let's go ahead and install our new air filter onto the box. Line it up right where we want it. Tighten down the screw, and that'll be done also. And now our new AFE filter is nice and tight inside the box. Now let's install the lid. So now we're ready to install the lid. Use the button head bolts provided in the kit. And tighten those down. And now our lid's on. And now the last piece is to install our plug to the bottom of the kit. Right down there, and our intake's installed. Now we just need to install our engine cover back on, and we'll be all done. So now we've got everything installed. Let's reinstall our engine cover back onto the back isolators. Set it back in place. Bolt it back down. And we'll be complete with this install. And tighten your bolts down. And it's done. All right, so now we've completed the install of our AFE Stage 2 intake on this 2007 Toyota 4Runner. I've got to say, much more open design, larger tubing, very nice AFE intake box, just a much cleaner unit that will provide approximately 13 more horsepower and 21 more foot-pounds of torque. Now all that's left to do is to start it up and enjoy it. If you're interested in this kit, come to 4Runner.com. Remember, we are your AFE intake experts.